What happened to the weird outcast at your school who everyone made fun of? Still holding his head high while dressing up as Ichigo on Naruto and going to the obscurest anime fan meetups. Good to go, I suppose. He died in a fire. It was sad. I wasn't friends with him because our schedules didn't sync up. But my best friend had some classes with him and they were buddies. The outcast didn't do anything weird. He just had really long hair, thick glasses, read Harry Potter all the time and was super poor. His parents had some family staying in the backyard in a camper. They had daisy chained a bunch of power strips and extension cords. It caused a fire in the house. The mother, father and older brother got out. When the outcast didn't come out, his older brother went in after him. They both died. They found the older brother collapsed at his side. It's interesting. When he died, it became trendy at school to pretend he was your friend before he died. Everyone talked about how they missed him and how he was such a good friend. Even the people who would mercilessly tease him. Most of these kids went to the grief counselor, too. Everyone deals with grief differently and maybe they felt guilty they treated him like garbage. But they still continued to ceaselessly make fun of my friend who was his buddy. So I don't think they really actually have a crap. Frick man, that's depressing. A kid I knew in middle school was weird, really into bats, wolves, etc. He seemed nice and we all egged him on do the wolf man, then he would growl and snarl and make weird faces. He also barely talked and when he did it was murmurs. He was sorta the weird kid but nobody was ever mean to him or made fun of him. We sorta just accepted and embraced it as a class. A few years later, after going to different high schools, I heard he got expelled for biting a kid. I can only imagine how that went down. Wolfman strikes again. Moved 1,000 miles away, learned a trade and did quite well, joined Aryan nations along the way somewhere, died in a motorcycle wreck age 38. That turned dark real quick. He became a vegetarian bodybuilder and then joined the military. He's a real nice guy who somehow managed to avoid accumulating pent-up anger after years of being made fun of. People treat him with a lot of respect now. Or he found a good outlet for it. I'm sure weightlifting is a great stress reliever. There was no weird outcast at my SCH. Crap. In poker, if you can't spot the sucker at the table. Got caught selling M at the drive-thru at the local taco joint. Good old small towns. He married a popular girl and became the most popular teacher at that same school. Oh, yeah, no, just drove his car into his ex's home, then shot and killed her and her new boyfriend. It turns out he's autistic. We just didn't have a word for it back then. Now he's involved with taxidermy. The kid got expelled and went to prison on 6 counts of arson 2 weeks before graduation. He lit 6 portable toilets on fire and is still in to this day. That guy really must have hated porta potties. There was a girl in my grad class who was brilliant, 100+% in every class, and very motivated with her studies. She didn't have any friends, and people knew she was strange, but everyone kind of left her alone or was nice when they came in contact. There were often bonus points on exams and assignments. That's how she got more than 100%. She said she didn't want friends. There were people willing, but she didn't believe in friendship. I believe she had a very good support system at home, but she had an anxiety disorder, which she was getting help for. She ended up staying in my hometown, pretty small, only a community college with not many programs, and I don't believe she ever went to higher education. She ended up committing suicide a year after our grad. I made friends with her in school because I knew it sucked to be alone and different. I was exposed to mentally handicapped people since my mom worked at a care facility and cared for them. 12 years after we kind of stopped talking and led our own lives, she tells me she got married and thinks without the friendship we had, she wouldn't have the confidence to do a lot of things she's done and doing now. I don't talk to her anymore, but she's happily married, holding a steady job, and had a kid last time we talked. Well, one of the well-known fat kids moved to Alaska and lost all his weight, and I'm pretty sure one kid joined ISIS. I started working customer service thinking it'd help me build up my social skills. Fast forward 10 years, I still work in the service industry, have great social skills, but also hate everybody, am broke, and want to die. He doused himself in gasoline and lit himself on fire when the popular girl he asked to prom declined. He survived. Barely. It's been about 15 years and he now is unemployed and lives with an emotionally abusive woman twice his size who cheats on him constantly. His life hasn't gone so well. One committed suicide a couple years ago and another is working at a gas station. Yeah, the weird guy from my school committed suicide as well. I always thought he was nice. Not my school, but my ex-wife's. Mousy little nobody a year younger than she was turned out to be Janis Joplin. Dropped out of 3 or 4 different colleges and became a furry. A fate worse than death. For starters, threatened to kill all 5 black people in my school, then said he would come back and kill all who picked on him. Thankfully me and a few friends tried to be friends with him. We knew he was a loner. He ended up in jail for raping an 8-year-old. I was that guy, currently working on my masters in counseling so I can help other outcasts with developing the skills they need to become successful adults, including coping skills. You're a good guy. He plays video games professionally now. Recently, as in like earlier this week, one of the weird guys I went to high school with got charged with 50+ counts of sexual assault. So for him not so well. Answering for my brother. He was a short, tiny kid in high school with acne problems and not the best hygiene skills. I knew he didn't have many friends, but it wasn't until I met a girl who was a freshman when he was a senior that I learned he was the outcast and he was made fun of constantly and didn't really have friends. In my eyes my brother was this awesome, funny, great guy, so this really blew my mind. He wound up joining the army at 18, grew to be about 6'4". He advanced quite fast in the army and really did well for himself. He's out now, serving in the National Guard still, moved across the country, is working on obtaining a degree, and is well traveled with plans to open his own business. He's the most outgoing person I know who can make friends like nothing and loves making people laugh. I knew he had it in him all this time and it's sad that the kids in high school couldn't see that. Despite being 30+ years old, she has somehow managed to Facebook friend almost every single person we went to school with going back to kindergarten. Kinda odd not only that she would add them all, but that they would accept her friend request. People add anyone on Facebook to look like they have more friends than they actually do. He posts space facts, unwarranted like. Rumor has it she still runs around at break growling at people and pretending she's a dog, cat, vampire, werewolf, dragon, seagull, jaguar, whatever she felt like that day. This was in middle school. She was 13. She chased me into the bathroom and bit me once. Seagull, that's rad. He went to jail for molestation. They work at a convenience store down the street. They seem happier now, even though they still don't smile or speak much. I was nice to them in high school, so whenever I go there I always say hi and they seem happy to see me. He killed himself. I never knew him that well. He seemed like an okay guy and kind of a character. He drove a hearse. He became a heroin addict. When he tried to stop, he had a heart attack and died. He was a genuinely nice and good-hearted person. 2. R.I.P. Will. In middle school the school nerd was this kid. Let's call him Jean-Luc. It was a rough school, predominantly Latino and black, and here is this gangly, awkward, white boy with glasses and an enlarged esophagus, so he was always foaming around his mouth and smelled like dirty clothes. His teeth were always grubby and his hair was always overgrown. He routinely just acted weird and didn't have any friends. Fast forward post high school graduation. He and I had gone to separate high schools, but he lived in the same neighborhood as some of my friends, so I would occasionally run into him. He had taken to wigger style, which was really cringy. This overweight, awkward, white boy, same glasses, same foamy mouth, same terrible lisp, and poor social skills, living with his parents. By this time it was apparent that he was slow, so to speak. I have a cousin who is also slow and made the mistake of inviting Jean-Luc to a party where he got caught jacking off in a back bedroom and then lashed out at everyone when they made fun of him, eventually turning a knife on someone and the police were called. Fast forward to about 2 months ago, I was hit up on Facebook by some guy with a Latino name who said he was Jean-Luc and wanted to reconnect with me. I checked the photos and, yup, it was him. I guess he changed his name to something more Latin sounding because he thought that might make him cooler? Who knows? But he's not at all Latino. Anyways, I asked him what he was doing in life and he said he's in prison, but he can still talk on the phone and asked for my phone number. I declined, but asked why he's in prison. He didn't answer, but in his FB pictures there's a series of pictures where he clearly had the crap beat out of him. So my guess is that he got in a fight that ended badly for someone and he's going away for a while now. He killed himself after being expelled from our middle school for hacking into the school computers and changing his grades. I was the kid who was bullied a lot in school while also being abused at home. Tried to kill myself a couple times, didn't work obviously. Now I am almost 18, stressed out of my mind working a fast food job, going to school, and doing theater. I am losing my hair and a lot of weight from the stress and exhaustion, but I still have a whole life ahead of me. Got a boyfriend who treats me well, and I am looking into a career in musical theater. So, all in all, I am healing, and I'll get there someday. I've spent the last 8 years in therapy. I'm still living at home. I don't really leave my house except for the occasional late night movie. I'm too much of a nervous wreck to hold down much of a job, and now pretty much all of my contact with the outside world is done through Facebook and Reddit. I wasn't the weird outcast, but I was never super popular. I got picked on and bullied because just when I started to fit in, we'd move. Then I had to keep starting over. New school, new people. Kids weren't as accepting of new people as they are nowadays in my experience. Anyway, I ended up dropping out and went to Job Corps. Got my good enough diploma and have been through various jobs over the years. Dealt with massive anxiety and depression. Through a series of very fortunate events, I now work at my youngest son's elementary school. I have various things I do there, from lunch cashier to reading tutor to 8 students. I volunteer in several classrooms helping the teachers with whatever they need. I assist in running a food pantry once a week out of the cafeteria, and I just started an after-school Lego program with a small group of kids that focuses on building relationships with each other and teamwork while utilizing Lego. I am working on going to school to get some certifications I need to become a preschool assistant next year, and then I think I'm going to go for some degrees to someday have my own class. I feel better than I ever have in my life. I am making a difference in people's lives. That probably saved my life. Reading this thread kind of made me sad that so many stories end badly or, well, ended at all. I just turned 40 and it took half my life, but I'm finally beginning to live. I read something a while back that really gave me inspiration to keep doing what I'm doing. Be the person that you needed when you were younger. I started doing all of this because I wanted my son to have a better experience than I had. Now I'm doing it because all the kids deserve to have that chance. Ended up here, keeping in touch with my loose social circle primarily through sporadic messaging on Facebook, trying various ventures at attempting to actually integrate into society and failing each time. Currently wondering if I ever will. Life's become one big day of eating lunch in the library. Died in a head-on crash with a semi along with his mom while driving from Washington to Oregon for a Christian youth group camp. He was always a bit off. Very into WWE when we were young. Talked with a bit of a lisp. Didn't have great social skills. Many, myself included, bullied him and treated him like crap. He was always nice to everyone despite all the crap he took. In fact, I don't know anyone who was nicer than he was at that age. When he died, everyone pretended they were buddies and nice to him and everything. I couldn't bring myself to even go to the funeral. I didn't feel like I deserved to pretend like I was important to him or whatever. It felt disrespectful. I try to pay my respect to him by remembering to treat people kindly. He surpassed the entire graduating class, in looks as well as tact class. Right onto him. Maybe the bullying carved character into him. He was magnanimous at the class reunion. You say that, but we all know he came back to silently and subtly brag. There were several kids like that in my year at school. One of them is doing a Prince's Trust course on engineering, still lives with his father and has a girlfriend who is obsessed with World of Warcraft. Another one of them works in Primark. As for the other two, I've literally no idea. I had a pretty dang good life. Almost 5 years in the Navy followed by a 33-year career and retired at 54. Many of them are still working. Good on you, mate. I'm browsing Reddit. Not me, but my parents went to high school with the OKC bomber back in the 80s. Went to prison for killing his abusive father. Got help. Got successful after release. Happy and healthy with a wife and 3 kids. Source was me. I switched from being obsessed with anime to being obsessed with cacti. Lol, I have a pretty okay collection. I only started in late 2015 and it's coming along slowly, but I'm pleased with it. I was the weird kid. There were stranger and more mentally off people than me, but I had no friends because and was bullied quite a bit. Girls would date me as a joke with their friends to see who could break up with me in the worst way possible. But I graduated early, saved up money, moved a state over, met my wife and got married 3 months later. All of this happened within the year I graduated. I'm moving to Europe soon to be with my wife. I'm going to free college in Europe. Married to a very beautiful, amazing Euro babe. Study law. I'd say that pain and suffering I was put through finally ended and helped me become a better person. You've been visited by luckiest pig in the world. Comment lucky piggy below to get some of his luck. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.